Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by Regular Dude. Today is February 28th, so I figured I would do my end of February recap and what's coming up in March. Alright, so the last kit I finished kind of at the beginning of the month, I think. If I'm getting my times, I'm not losing, time continuum going on here. But the last kit I finished was the Bandai 1/72 scale X-Wing Starfighter in Red 2 markings, which is Wedge Antilles ship. And here's how that turned out. I did a full build series on that and posted the last video last weekend, I believe. And what I will do is pretty quick. I'll be making a complete playlist if somebody wants to watch the whole series at once, which is something I like to do whenever I get done with a project. I like to connect all of them together. That way, if somebody wants to watch about a particular kit, they don't have to look through all the other videos to see it. So real quick, I am going to flip the camera around. We'll take a look what's on the bench right now and what's coming up. All right now I have got the Tacom King Tiger on the bench. And as you can see, that's coming along nicely. This is the instruction booklet that comes with it. All of the construction is done except for assembling the tracks. But I've started, I've got the interior complete on the turret and on the hull. All the wheels are assembled, all that kind of stuff. Everything's in sub-assembly so I can paint it. And so I've started with the primer, and I'm using Stynylrez gray primer. Now I was going to use black just because I like a bit of contrast between the color I'm spraying and the base color of the plastic, but my bottle of black was bad. It would not, I thought it was contaminated plastic at first, but it's happened on a number of different projects even after cleaning the plastic, and I'd get this weird fisheye business going on with the primer. It was something weird about it, and it was thoroughly mixed. I always thoroughly mix Stynylrez primer because you really have to mix it good. And to do that, I use this paint stirrer here, and then I check with one of these to make sure there's no goop on the bottom. And I'm really thorough about it. And I haven't had this trouble with black before, and I've not had trouble with the gray, but it's just really weird. So I ended up tossing the bottle. I'll have to order a new bottle because I do like to, oh my word, what the heck. I do like to use black for some things. So I'm going to have to replace that for sure. But anyway, I've got things started here. I'd show you what it looks like inside of the turret, but as you can see, I've got it all taped up. Now, my plan with this, and I think I've mentioned it in my series, I'm going to be leaving certain parts loose so they can be removed. So, for example, this engine cover, it's just going to be set in place. It's not going to be glued. So that way I can take it off, and at least, if somebody wants to see the inside, they can look at it. The turret obviously is removable. And the top of the turret fits well enough that I'll be able to just set it in place. And I can remove that so you can see not only through the bottom, you can see the interior of the turret, but you can see in the top as well. Then this right here, this the front hatches, they will be, this plate will be removable as well, so you can see inside. Now you won't be able to see a whole lot, but at least you can see some of it, because there's a lot of work goes into that, and I thought, you know what, I want to be able to see that. And if you've been watching the series, you know my display method for this particular tank is going to be simple base with like simulated concrete floor with maybe a back with maybe some, like, you know, photos of a real king tiger or something on the back with I want to try and do some like rope boundary around it, kind of like it's a museum display. And I want to have a couple of figures, say an adult and a young person or a child looking at it. So it's kind of a museum display. So it's not going to have a whole lot of weathering. It's going to be a little dusty, you know, especially down low, like it's a working display, kind of like Tiger 131 if you're familiar with that. But that's kind of the idea for the way this one's going to be displayed, and I'm kind of stoked about doing that. Not quite as stoked about doing the figures, but you know, we have to deal with it. So another thing is this back hatch. I mean, yeah, there we go. This back hatch opens. I'll do it later. So you can see in the back, I'll have that open while it's on display. But anyway, that's the plan for that. So this is coming along pretty well. I'll be able to do some more painting hopefully this evening, and or some more priming actually, and I can actually start working on this and get it painted and weathered a bit underneath, you know, just some dust, nothing too serious, some oil stains, grease stains, stuff like that. Then I can get the running gear in place, do the tracks, get that done, and then I can move on to the rest of it. All right, another ongoing project I've got on the bench is this Lindbergh Heinkel 111, and this is an old kit. It's not a very good kit, as you can see. Without doing a whole lot of surgery, I had to really do some tweaking to get those tail planes level. So, but this is purely an exercise in paint. The main reason I'm building this and I want to paint it up and everything is my kids got this for me years back in this boxing here by Lindbergh. It was in you know, it's kind of a joint deal with the Discovery Channel, P-47B Thunderbolts versus HE-111 German bomber, Legends of the Sky World War II fighter models by Lindbergh. And it's supposed to be 1/72nd scale, but from what I've read, it's a little closer to 1/64th or something weird like that. But my kids got this for me, and I want to get it painted up and display it somewhere. And it's mainly an exercise in paint, and it's going to be, if it all works out well, it's going to be part of my beginner series that I like to do. This particular case being painting German aircraft. I'm going to show how to mix paints, how to apply them, and all that kind of stuff. It'll be real simple, and it's just kind of a side project I'm working on, just for some fun. I've got to put a little bit more primer along these trailing edges here, but this was actually the aircraft I discovered that my black primer was no good, because I tried spraying it and it got all weird. So that's what happened there. So that is the other project I've actually got on the bench. So after I get the King Tiger finished, my next armored vehicle is going to be this Asuka 1/35th scale M4A376 wet VVS late. Now this one was a gift from Harold Adams, one of my subscribers, and he sent this to me with a whole lot of extras, which I'll get into once I actually get ready to start the kit. But this is the next kit I'm going to do. If you watch my channel much, you know I like my Shermans. Sherman is my favorite World War II. Well, it's my favorite military vehicle, period. I mean, there's other ones I really like, but the Sherman overall is my favorite. It's a really good, it's a really awesome vehicle. So anyway, this is the next one I'm going to do. Haven't decided on markings yet or anything like that. I'm going to have to do a little studying in the meantime to kind of figure out what I want to do with it. But that's the next one, so keep an eye peeled for that to start. Hopefully, I'm thinking I should be able to start it in March. Shouldn't be that difficult. because I don't think the King Tiger is going to take that much to finish it up from where I am as far as the painting and stuff, especially since I'm not going to get real heavy with the weathering. So that's the next one I'm going to do. So next up, got a little bit of a mail call going here. I received a package just today, as a matter of fact, from my Swedish friend, Peter Persson. He sent me a box, and here are the contents of that box. First of all, we've got the Edouard BF 109 E3 Weekend Edition in 1/48 scale. Looks like the markings are Oberleutnant Josef Priller, Staffelkapitän B6 JG51, France, autumn 1940. So I have built one of Edouard's BF 109s. It was a different version. It was the E4, I believe, which was, what's his name? Franz von Vera. I went blank. But anyway, it was his aircraft. I did that one. And I have to say, the Edouard 109 series of kits, they are really, really good. That other one I put together, it had no, I didn't have to use any filler on it. And the seams, the only sanding I had to do on the seams, on any seams, was where whenever I pressed the parts together and a little bit of the melted plastic from the cement oozed out a little bit. I mean, they fit really, really well. Now, that one was a Profi pack, so it had the extra photo etch and stuff like that. This is a weekend edition, and it does not have photo etch. Now, Peter asked me if I was going to get the photo etch for it, and, you know, I'm not really sure. I'm going to take a look at the kit, the contents, and see. And, you know, if I think it needs it, I will. If not, I'll just build it right out of the box like it is and paint it all up really good and everything else. But, you know, I'm really stoked with that because, you know, again, like I said, the Edouard 109 series, they're really good I mean, this company just really does some good stuff. Really nice detail. Fit is excellent. So the other item in the package he sent was this Tamiya M3A1 Scout car. And this is in Soviet markings. Now, I have not completed a Soviet kit since the late 80s. I built a Tamiya T-34-76. That's the last Soviet vehicle I've done. I started a Dragon OT-34-76, which is a flamethrower version of you know, of the T-34 series, but man, that kit was something. It was really frustrating. I got it mostly put together, and it's going to end up being a armored vehicle paint mule because the instructions were hideous. And it was a case of one of those Dragon kits where you have a base kit, then they add some stuff to do another version. You add some more stuff to do another version, and you got all this stuff, and then the instructions start getting convoluted. Parts don't fit like they should, or they give wrong part numbers of similar items, so it just doesn't work. And I did the basics, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it as a whitewash project for another kit I'm going to build. But anyway, enough of that. So this will be my second completed Soviet vehicle. Now I haven't even done any Soviet aircraft. I did a Czechoslovakian marked MiG-21, so I guess it's a Soviet plane, but it was in Czech markings. So anyway, looking forward to this one. It's kind of cool because it comes with some nice figures. This is a 2018 kit, and these Tamiya figures look really good, and I think I'm going to incorporate those into the build. Maybe do a simple base. But I really dig the armored, the U.S. armored scout car and half tracks. And I've never built the scout car. I've done a couple of half tracks, but I've never done the scout car. So I'm really looking forward to this one as well. And I think this one may come up in the near future because it looks like, you know, being a Tamiya kit, it's not going to be a long, difficult build. It should be relatively simple. So it'll give me some good opportunity to do some weathering and stuff like that on it, and some figures. And I think I'll just do it just like this, and maybe put it on a simple base. But anyway, that's the other item that Peter sent me. So Peter, if you're watching this, thanks for the 2 items. I'm really digging it. So that was kind of the last month review and what's coming up, kind of all jumbled together. The review, finished the X-Wing, worked a whole lot more on the King Tiger. Preview for next month, the Sherman, and possibly the 109 or the M3A1 Scout Car. Don't know which. So that's that. So that's what is going on the bench. Not really much else to talk about, I don't think. I'll be doing some more videos of various subjects. One of the subjects will be, you know, my thoughts on, you know, oftentimes you might hear a person, you know, you might hear people saying, I've lost my mojo, you know, burned out, blah, blah, blah. And that is a perfectly reasonable thing to happen. I mean, you do something, and eventually you're just like, what am I doing? This is getting to be kind of a drag. And I don't want to say that was happening to me, because it wasn't, but in building the King Tiger, that was that is a very complex project. That, you know, I know I'm remarking ad nauseum about that, but it's a very complex, and that's the kind of stuff that if you're not careful, it can burn you out. You know, you've got all this interior going on, and, you know, all this complicated fit and stuff like that, and you really have to pay attention and make sure that you get things, you know, installed correctly, and it can be mentally taxing. And this has happened to me in the past, where, you know, I'll get to that point and then I'll just stop with the model altogether, and then it goes and goes and goes, and it's been months and I haven't done anything on any kits. And it's not because I don't like building models, it's just because I kind of started burning myself out. So with this kit, I got the interior completed, painted, and weathered the way I wanted it. Then I set it aside because I did not want to get burned out. Complex kit, just didn't want to just keep going and just burn myself out and then just say, forget it, I'll pick it up some other time, because I want to get it done. So what I did was I did the X-Wing. That was my solution, and I've heard of other people doing this, and so I thought I'd try it myself. Thought, you know what, I'm going to try something completely different, and I busted out the X-Wing. We went and bought an X-Wing, did a little bit of research on it, on what I wanted to do, because I wanted to do a specific person's, you know, ship, and went to town. It's so completely different than what I normally do. I guess it would be kind of close to doing aircraft, just because, you know, it flies, but it's a totally different thing. It's sci-fi, so it's not real. So there's no, I didn't feel any constraints as to what I could or couldn't do with it, due to reality and wanting it to be somewhat, you know, realistic. I was just able to just go to town on it, do what I wanted. And, I had a really good time with it, and it just totally stoked the fires of model building. So when I came back to this, I just dove in, got the turret done, got the gun done, it just kind of recharged the batteries. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you ever get to the point where you're just kind of burning out, maybe try something completely different. One of the reasons I picked a Bandai kit is because I've heard so much that they're so easy. And not because I just want an easy kit, but I want something I don't really have to focus and think really hard about. Put it together, paint it, put some more together, paint some more, weather this, do that. And it served the purpose. It really worked well. So, food for thought. Maybe think of doing that if you ever start feeling a little burned out. Just go for something completely out of the ordinary. I mean, even if it's like a tune tank or an egg plane or something ridiculous like that. I know a lot of people don't like that kind of stuff. I'm using it as an example. Do something completely different. Might get the creative juices flowing again. So anyway, that is that. So I think that pretty much wraps up this recap and preview video for February and what's coming up in March. So thanks for watching as always. I really appreciate all the comments and stuff I get on my videos. I especially like, the interaction with people when they have questions. What would you do in this case? What about that? How did you do this? It's really kind of cool to know that, what I'm doing is actually helping someone, and I'm no expert by any means. But, I do okay. But I'm not an expert. I'm not like, King Ding Dong when it comes to models, because there are some people out there that, there's a lot of people out there that just smoke my abilities to no end. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the interaction. So keep the comments, questions, suggestions, everything else coming. I really appreciate them. And it's fun to interact with people and kind of get to know them in a virtual kind of way, at least as far as what our hobbies are and stuff. So anyway, that's pretty much it. As always, thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hints, tips, etc., put them in the comments section down below, and I will see you all later.